Welcome to everyone. My name is Maggie Grandin. I work for AIHEC as the Health Initiatives Coordinator. We're really excited to have you join us for our AIHEC Health webinar series. This is our fourth webinar of the series, but I do know from the registration that I think about 2/3 of you, this is your first one. So we're really excited to welcome you to this series. For those who are returning, we're really grateful for your continued support of our work. We have a really great presentation today with Franco Littlelight. Okay, well, so as I mentioned, we have Franco Littlelight here presenting for us today. Franco is an educator, a public speaker, and performer from the Crow Indian Reservation. As a poet, artist, musician, storyteller, and singer, Littlelight regales listeners about the history of the Crow people. So Franco Littlelight, welcome and thank you.
All right, thank you for having me. I'm Franco Littlelight. I'm from the Crow Indian Reservation. Right now, we're in the middle of putting up a bunch of teepees up in the Crow Reservation. It's our Crow Fair this weekend, and so everybody from the whole reservation is coming over to put up their teepees and camp out for a week together. And so that's what's going on over here. So the name of this talk is ritual chanting, growth and healing through song. So part of it is, mostly, when my first experience was, this guy came over during a sweat lodge, and he shared a bunch of stories with me, actually with me and my dad, and at the end of the night, I really liked listening to his story, and so I asked my dad to bring him over again, so that he can tell another story at our sweat. And so we did that again. Following week, he invited him over and said, "My son enjoyed your story and he wants to hear another one." And so that kind of started me on my collecting these stories from that storyteller. And eventually, I told my dad that I wanted to be a singer and I wanted to learn how to sing. And so he told my mentor, and he said, my son's also interested in singing. And so my mentor introduced me to his brother, and he's the one who kind of showed me all these different family songs and how to sing and how to be a singer. It's kind of what he's showing me. And he he was a human being, and he's just a regular guy like one of us. And sometimes we kind of put these guys on a pedestal. And but one evening he says, "Hey Franco, why don't you bring your recorder over? I got a few songs that I want to show you." And so I got in my car and I took my recorder. I picked him up, and then he says, "Hey, why don't we go over that hill there and stop by over at Edgar?" Now Edgar's it's like a one-horse town. It's like there's nothing there except one bar. And so we go over, and he goes inside and he comes out and he says, "Hey, why don't we drive through Billings and we'll talk about a few things along the way." And so what I didn't know was he didn't tell his wife that he was heading out. And so he stopped by over at the bar, picked up a bottle, and then we drove to Billings from where Edgar is. So it's kind of a long ways, kind of a roundabout way. And so he picks up his bottle, and we go over to Billings, and he buys me a cheeseburger and buys me some snacks and some drinks and stuff. And we head over back to the Crow Reservation. In this roundabout way, we head over to the far end of the Crow Reservation, which is Wyola. And we start there, and he starts singing these family songs along the way. And along the way, he's kind of getting lushed up, and shows me these different family songs. And this family lives here, and this is their song. That family lives there, and that's their song. And so we drive from Wyola to Lodgegrass to Crow, back to Pryor, and he's singing all these different songs. And by the time we get back to Pryor, it's about 11 o'clock, and he's really sauced out of it. And as we're approaching Pryor, he says, on the Crow Reservation, the closest thing we have to an Elvis Presley is probably me. And I tell him, yeah, you're the best, and but I drop him off at his house, and he gets in trouble. His wife's yelling at him, and I head back home. But that's the kind of experience that I had. Kind of learning how to sing these songs. And a lot of times, it's just me and him in the car, singing, banging on the dashboard, and talking about these different family songs. I didn't really become a powwow singer till later on, with my dad and my brothers. But along the way, I picked up a lot of different songs, and you know, anywhere there was going to be singing, I wanted to be close to the drum. And whether it's a peyote meeting or a Sundance or a powwow or just a social gathering, hand games. I want to make sure that I sit with the singers and try to pick it up along the way. And being a young guy, just getting advice from all these older singers and kind of collecting all these different songs um, over all these years, you know, I kind of have a deep understanding um, about you know about music. And if you ask any teenager out there, what's the most important thing in your life, and they're going to tell you that it's going to be music. And it's not so different later on in life. I think that our love of music kind of comes with us, and we use it to kind of help us understand the world and deal with situations. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is kind of going to be no different. I've got 5 songs, or 5 different parts of it, and each one of these parts, we're going to have a different song. Let me see if I can share the screen now. Okay, so one of the first things that I'll share with you guys is you know I kind of go around and I tell the beginning of the universe story. And there's this song that you know Old Man Cow uses to create the universe. And a lot of this kind of esoteric, and a lot of people like to keep it secret. And so I talked with my mentors and asked them if I could substitute a song for it, because I don't like to tell a story without at least kind of singing a song for them. And so this is just a clip here. If you could click on that little sound bar there. And this is something that so that's one of the songs that my mentors and I kind of came up with, so that we didn't have to sing the real ceremonial song, because they a lot of these um, a lot of the people involved in that like want to keep it between themselves. And so if you want to go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay. And then so part of our heritage as Native Americans, um, just we're not very far removed from the very foundations of our cultures. And so if you can imagine a time um, uh, far back in history, before any human being had any idea of God and organized religions, um, that's where a lot of this first slide comes from. There was a time before that, before any kind of religion, that you know one of our ancestors knew that he was on his own somewhere. He didn't understand any idea of the creator, anything like that. And for this time being, he was all alone in the whole world. And one of the first ventures he might have into any kind of religious organization would be to really consult himself. The way you understand the world, the way this person can, make sense of everything that's going on in the whole universe. And one of the first steps might be meditation. In the Crow language, we call it chilishchigazwa, which means contemplating it, thinking about it. And chilishchigazwa is your primary means of figuring out what to do. And later on, the Crow Indians uh, put a lot of stock into our dreams, and because a dream can be more real than the trees, your lodge, your grasses, your food, anything else, because a dream is what shows you the way, whatever way that is, what you're trying to do, um, trying to find your way in the universe. And later on, we develop all these different tools to help us in this. Um, organizing our meditation into a vision quest, where you might go up to a mountain and fast and be by yourself, be alone in the universe, to try to figure out, what you need to do. And later on, as we're understanding the earth a little bit more, we come across the peyote, and this peyote religion, uh, it really changes the game for everybody, because whatever, if you've never been in a peyote meeting, you take the peyote, you ingest it, and what that peyote is doing inside of your body is it's taking out your evil spirits, they say. It's taking out all your bad energies, and eventually, you're going to get sick from this peyote, and you have to go outside, and you'll get sick, and that's the peyote taking all of your bad spirits out, all of your demons, all these bad things, so that when you go back into the peyote lodge, um, you're filling yourself with new energies, with new positive energy, positive direction, and everybody, they're saying a prayer. There's a lot of different versions of peyote out there. A lot of them pray to Jesus. They call it the New Way. A lot of them, they still pray to the sand moon there, and they'll pray to different things, and it's just depending on who your roadman is, who your leader is for that peyote meeting. Um, but they all pray, for good things, for positive energy to fill that lodge, so that after this whole ceremony is done, you go into the world without carrying the weight of your um, past. What you want to change, you leave it behind. The peyote takes it from you, and you're starting a new day. So um, a lot of people who are wanting to change their lives might gravitate to the peyote religion. They might go on a vision quest, or just daily meditation. Just going inside themselves to figure out what it is they need to change. And so, we'll share this peyote song with you guys. So, Maggie, if you want to play that song. And so usually the purpose of these songs is to take you on that journey. From my experience, the first couple times I was in a peyote meeting, when I take it, and then I do the whole thing, and for a long time there won't be anything going on, but on that first time, uh, I sat in a lodge, and then I barely uh, nicked the back of my head on the teepee, and everything starts to get all kind of wavy all the way around me, and then all of a sudden I'm going down this tunnel, and as they're singing a song, there's all these colors that are coming around me, going down this tunnel, and then I'm trying to get to the end of it, and I'm chasing something down this tunnel, and eventually, I come out of this trance, and I still haven't caught whatever it was at the end of that tunnel. I was chasing it down the whole way, while this guy was singing that song, and I think most of the time that's the kind of journey we're on. Later on we're contemplating what our experience was, what we saw, uh, in that experience, trying to figure it out, and that kind of helps to guide us for um, to what we're working towards, what we're heading towards. Um, so go ahead and skip to the next slide. Okay. And next part is external energies, where you look outside yourself, um, to try to figure out what it is you need to do. And some of these things, one of the things that's most accessible to everybody is smudging, and whether it's sweetgrass, bare root, cedar, sage. I know a lot of different tribes use a lot of different smudging, and so what that does is, it kind of, if we're scared, or maybe if you're sad, or maybe even if you're happy, because um, in Crow we call it Bala Shabissa, which means keep all things in moderation, um, and it just means don't overdo it. So if you're feeling happy, and out of happiness, you might make a lot of bad decisions, like maybe one of your grandsons just now won the hand game tournament, and you out there and you donate five heads of cattle, and next thing you know, you've gotten yourself into something, and so you want to make sure that you keep all your happiness in check, whether even if it's your sadness, you want to keep that in check also. And smudge just kind of helps you maintain that balance, to make sure you don't make any rash decisions, or just to kind of take the spirit away that might be making you make bad decisions. And the next more accessible one might be a sweat ceremony, because we have that quite a bit here on the Crow Reservation. Some guys have it pretty much every day, and a sweat ceremony. You go out there and all the steam. We Crow Indians believe that the fire is our life force. The sun gave us his fire to bring wisdom into our bodies, and so heat for us, it kind of replenishes your life force. And so the sweat ceremony kind of reinforces that. So if you go in a sweat, you come out the next day, you're feeling a lot better. And a third thing that not a lot of people might take part in is a sun dance, because it's pretty strenuous nowadays with a lot of the health conditions on our reservations. A lot of people won't be able to take part in the Sundance ceremony, because they might have diabetes or high blood pressure, things like that. And fasting for that long and that kind of physical activity is going to be detrimental to their health, and so they won't be able to take part in those kind of ceremonies. And what a Sundance ceremony might do is, we're looking outside our lodges, outside our villages, into something greater, to access the power of the sun, to bring wellness, to bring mental health to us, um, to bring prosperity to us. And the fourth thing that's outside of yourself is medicine. This is even fewer now. I've known only one person to have a medicine bundle and to kind of use it regularly. And even at that, it's not even a yearly thing. But I've had very few experiences in any kind of medicine opening ceremony, and so that one won't be accessible to a lot of people. But the Sundance ceremony, a lot of people come out to support it. Even if you're not part of it, if you drink to somebody's thirst, they believe that it helps them to overcome that thirst. Or maybe if they're hungry, you eat for them, and that in turn kind of helps them out to take away their hunger so that they can get through the ceremony. And so one of our oldest songs, I'm pretty sure the Crow Indians brought it with them from the Sioux, because a lot of times, when I go back to the Sioux country, these are the kind of songs that I hear in their ceremonies and things like that. And actually, the song itself, I've heard them sing it as a as a as a Sundance song. And go ahead and play it, Maggie. Thank you. Yahweh, Yahweh, so a song like that, um, they'll sing it for like in the morning, before they bring the water in, or before the sun comes up, as kind of a way uh, to ask the sun for their blessing, um, to renew our prosperity, to renew our health, things like that. And so a lot of these ones we're describing here, they require ceremonies, rituals, things like that to access those kind of energies. Go ahead and go to the next slide. All right. So Old Man Coyote in the Christian way, um, when the Jesuits first come to the Crow Indians, um, and the message that they carried with them, the Crow Indians called these Jesuits Zakuwata. We call them Old Man Coyotes, and because they're here, um, a lot of times we say Old Man Coyote's a trickster. He does all these things, but really what he is he was our teacher. And so when these Jesuits came over, we called them our, our our Old Man Coyote because they're here to show us the way. Um, before any kind of Christianity, um, the Crow Indians, um, they didn't talk to God, they didn't talk to the Creator, they didn't pray. Okay, they didn't pray to the God. Um, Anytime you hear any of these old time traditionalists say, "Oh, I pray to God every day, but I don't follow Christian way," um, they're lying because in the old days they wouldn't talk to God because it's bad enough that the Crow Indians are very superstitious and they don't take on any new ways without completely understanding it. And so, if they take on a new way and they do something wrong in this new way, and bad things might happen to them. And so they believe that you know, who am I to talk to God? Because I'm just a man, and I try to get my way using the most powerful thing in the universe, and I try to get my way, and I do something wrong, and I'm not supposed to have it. A lot of bad things are going to happen, um, not just to our people, but to the people surrounding us, because we don't have that right to talk to a God. The creator puts a spirit in charge of the grass, the trees, the rivers, all these things. And if we're going to seek some kind of power, we need to earn that power through vision, through fasting. And, and if the spirit thinks us well enough, worthy enough, then he'll grant that to us. But later on, the Jesuits came and they show us this new way. And they say, if you follow this new way, you can talk to God. If you forgive your enemies, um, you do good things, don't hurt others, you follow this code of conduct, then you're free to talk to God as much as you want. And so after the Christians came and they gave us this new way, now um, they'll talk to God in the sweat, they'll talk to God in the peyote, they'll talk to God in Sundance even. Um, so this new way, this new Christian way, um, following the Christian code of ethics, you can't talk to God and pray to Him as long as um, they one of the phrases that they show us in all things, let Thy will be done, and you don't try to ask God to make things go your way. You ask to go to His way, which um, in the Crow Indian way, that's the way it's always been. We're here on our own, trying to survive and live, and we don't get that. We don't get to have that edge. And so when the Christians came and they gave us this new way, um, all these spirit songs, these family songs that they had, they switched them over from maybe the one family prays to a certain rock and their song is about this rock, instead of calling that rock by its name, they'll put Jesus Christ or they'll put God in there, something like that. And so this song right here um, is one of those new Crow Indian Christian hymns. If you want to play that, Maggie. So there's an entire group on the Crow Reservation. Um, they collect these songs and they put them in note. They put notes on them. They put the lyrics on there, and they call it the Crow Hymns Project. And they're out there collecting all these family songs, recording them, doing all the work that needs to be done to kind of preserve these songs. And I'm not sure. You can look them up. They have like a lot of CDs, tapes, stuff like that. Music books, song books, things like that. They're working to preserve this kind of music. But that's our Christian way here. That a lot of Crow Indians are Christians nowadays, and they follow the Christian. They go to church every Sunday, things like that. And that's one of the new ways that we try to help ourselves. Whether it's trying to find mental health or just to improve your life. A lot of people follow the Christian way. Okay, so go ahead and go to the next slide. And this one, um, scars and recovery. One of the most difficult things that a lot of people might go through in their life. You know, Crow Indians have not Crow Indians, but actually just Crow Indians. A lot of different Indians have made songs about these kinds of things, and whatever kind of hurt you've been through, someone has been there, and they had the same experience, and they made a song about it to to kind of get through it and to deal with it, and to kind of help themselves to move past this kind of bad experience. And um, it's like I said, one of the most difficult ones is heartbreak, next to loss. And but somebody out there has made a song about this, and it grants a lot of people, some level of comfort that it's not so bad. And so go ahead and play that song.
Someone else. Don't think I'm sitting here just missing you. I've got all kinds of snags at all those Indian dunes. I don't need your love anymore. Hey, just because you left me for someone else, don't think I'm sitting here just missing you. I've got all kinds of snags at all those Indian dunes. I don't need your love anymore. Hey, just because you left me for someone else, don't think I'm sitting here just missing you. I've got all kinds of snags at all those Indian dunes. I don't need your love anymore.
Yeah, so a lot of these songs, they kind of help us deal with you know bad experiences that we might have had, and it gives us strength to get past it. Okay, so go ahead and move on to the next slide. Okay, so one of the things that in our stories, old man Kyle creates the universe, and then we have all these adventures with him, and one day he decides he's got someplace to go, and before he leaves, he comes over and he talks to the first man, and he says, "Do you have everything you need here? Uh, is there anything that's missing? Because I'm going to be gone for a while, and I need to know, and that way you have it with you on hand when I'm not here." And so, the first man, he says, everything here, I've got a use for it. There's not a lot here that I don't know how to use, and anything I need, it's over here already. Except, there's just this one thing that you know I don't know how to use it. If I'm hungry, it doesn't feed me. If I'm thirsty, I'm not quenched. If I'm cold, it doesn't make me warmer. If I'm really tired, if I use this thing, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. And if I'm lost out there in the middle of nowhere, and I use this, it doesn't help me find my way. And whatever this, I don't know what it's for. Maybe you could just take it from us and take it with you. And old man Coyote, he's wondering what it could be, and finally he asks him, what is it? What is this thing? And he says, "Wesh the man, it's our tears. I use it, but it doesn't help me fix anything." And so the creator says, a lot of time, if you're hungry or if you're cold, you use your hands to fix those kind of things. Well, if you're hungry, you got to go out in there and hunt. If you're thirsty, you got to go and find water. If you're cold, you got to build a fire. If you're hot, then you have to, you've got to deal with it with these hands that you have. But there's some things that you won't be able to fix with your hands, and you're gonna need these tears to help you fix these things, to help you get through them. And the earth is young. There's a lot of disease and death out there, and you're gonna need these things in the days to come. Um, and then he shows us how to use it. Old man Kyle, he's our teacher. He shows us how to use it. And if you're in a village, if you're a man, you should go out to the mountain somewhere or go out to the wilderness somewhere, and then use it so that nobody sees you use this. And and one of the things about loss is that you should use these in the morning, because you don't want to forget about this in the morning and then have to face the day carrying your grief with you, or maybe you forget about it for a little bit and then during the day you remember it, and you're going to be caught in a bad place because you didn't use this in the morning. You didn't let go of your grief in the morning, and so now in the afternoon you have to take time off from work, or you're busy trying to do stuff and you have to take time off to go and use these. And so old man Kyle gives us these tears for us to get through any kind of loss, any kind of pain, any kind of bad experience that we might have in our lives. And if you can't fix it with your hands, then you've got to use these tears, he says. And so one of the gifts that I was given is learning how to play the flute. And a long time ago, I told my dad, I'd like to be a flutist. And he says, the last guy to ever have the flute in the Crow Reservation, he passed away without passing it on to anybody. And so we Crow Indians, we don't have a way for the flute. So you have to go and find it from somebody else. And you go down south, down in the desert. Those Indians down there, they can blow a pretty good whistle. And so I went down there, I learned it, picked it up, and then so for about 3 years, my family went through like a lot of loss. And so this playing the flute in the mornings kind of really helps me get through it, so that this grief that I carry with me during the day, it's not as intense, because I've let it go through playing the flute. And so go ahead and play the song, Maggie. Okay, so so a lot of times, whether you're in any one of these ceremonies, maybe you're in church, maybe you're in peyote meeting, you're in Sundance, maybe you went on a vision quest where you heard a song. These songs you carry with them, you carry them with you uh, to kind of take you back to that experience, to kind of put you back on the right track, as we call it, Lishteni, your road that you're on, um, to kind of help remind you what you need to do. Um, but at the end of the day, we're still all of us on our own out in the world, trying to figure it out. And anything you can use to help you, that's good. That's good on you. So if anybody has any questions, I think we got about 10 more minutes here.
Thank you, Franco. That was a great presentation. We really appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maya ako nga, irusa ka ako nga, kipaklo ka ako nga, kaganak ako nga, mangya ka ako nga, alak nakmingo nga, kuipagmingo nga. My name is Valerie, and I come from the Lower Yukon village of Alaknak. I am Yupik and Supik. Supik because of my dad, and Yupik because of my mom. I hear what you're saying. I just love your presentation, Kuya Nailak Suglo. Thank you for the invite, not only to my physical being, but also to my mentality. I really appreciate your words, Oyana. I did have a question, and the one that keeps popping up is I have a hard time, differentiating what I see as spirituality in our world, our oneness with the universe, with our universal consciousness, and that the Christian religion. Such a that to me has always been separate, because in our spirituality there is no judgment, absolutely none. You're allowed to grow, just like what you were saying, you're allowed to grow at your own speed. Of course, we're given these gifts as children, and then you grow up with them and you use them in different times in your life. So my question to you is, what I saw was your new stylized version of Christianity, using all these new tools. But in essence, do you consider yourself a Christian?
Yeah, I do consider myself a Christian. My dad's a minister, so is my brother, and so is my grandfather on my mom's side. He's the one who brought the church that we're in now. He's the one who brought those fellows over. They were his friends, his farming friends, and he wanted his family to become Christians, and so he brought them to us, and we've kind of adopted that way. And I grew up in the church, and they pushed my dad to be a minister. They pushed my brother to be a minister. They kind of pushed me a little bit, but I love being an Indian too much, so because I might be out on a powwow trail on a Sunday, so I won't be able to make it to church very often. But I do believe in the Christian way, and still, I do practice all these other ceremonies also, and the idea that more and more, I think the Christianity itself, that hard organized religion that they've had, they're starting to make a lot of changes. Even the Catholics have done away with purgatory themselves. And so one of my uncles, he asked, hey, well, so what are you going to do with all those souls you left in purgatory? There's no easy way to answer any of these questions because the way they've organized their religion. But I do believe that the essence of Christianity is not so different from the Crow Indian way. Um, in the Crow Indian way, we don't believe anything is purely evil, that anything is purely good. Even if it's good, it might be corrupted, or if it's bad, if we consider it to be evil, it might have a way to turn around. And I think that I don't believe that God is going to send anybody to hell. I think He wants everybody to come into heaven, and that's where I am. Um, but like I said, I'm not going to church every Sunday and things like that. Even though my brothers and my dad remind me to come over every Sunday, um, I'm usually too busy out there Indianing around, and I still do believe that I consider myself a Christian at the end of the day.
So we did have one question in the chat, Franco. Can you please explain the purpose of the doorway songs?
The doorway song is doorway song comes to us from when Crow Indians lived in bands. Um, we get together twice a year. Once in the spring, the whole tribe would come together to plant the tobacco seed in the crazy mountains, and in the fall they come back together to harvest it so that everybody gets some of the tobacco. And when they're at this camp, everybody in your village is usually your relatives. They're your family. So if you're looking to find somebody to marry, when we get together at those big camps, the Chihuahua we call it, is during that time. And if if a young man didn't find a mate in time, he might be kind of desperately going around trying to find somebody, and then all of a sudden, it's midnight and he's out there. He still doesn't have anybody, and he really wants to get married, and so he might go out to one of his potential mates and sing a song outside of her camp, and try to draw her out, and try to get himself into a marriage. And these young men back then, if they got married, they would leave their family and go with his wife's camp and become part of her village. And so a doorway song would be they go out and try to find a mate and sing a song for them. That's what a doorway song is, a mating call.
Like a buffalo or like a Do we have any other questions? Franco Littlelight, we're so appreciative that you could come and present to us today. We are grateful for your all of the information you shared. Franco, thank you so much. For all of our attendees, thank you so much.